going on, YouTube? So, with gas prices going insane, I'm going to attempt to convert my truck over to E85. I'm not exactly sure how involved this is going to be. I'm going to start with the sensor, and I may have to do the fuel pump, fuel lines, fuel rail, injectors. I'm not exactly sure how deep I'm going to have to get into this, but I went ahead and ordered a DSX tuning, their kit. It's like $300, it's a little pricey, but it splices into, I believe, the alternator line for electrical. It comes with a pigtail already to get into the ECU connector, and it's a pretty well a male-female connector into the line. I really don't like cutting into the existing fuel line, so we're just going to try to do this. I already opened this up, but it seems like a pretty nice little product. So like I said, it's just a male-female connector, so basically it goes right up by the fuel rail at where it meets into the, where the fuel line meets into the fuel rail is actually where this connects in, and it's got the pigtail just spliced into, I believe it's the alternator, like I said, and it's already got a wire hooked up for going into the ECU. Comes with a little 3D printed fuel line tool. I'll probably just use a regular one. I have the aluminum version, so we'll go ahead and just use that. When it comes with actual instructions, you tell them which computer you have, or ECU, ECM, whatever you want to call that, and it'll tell you which pin you need to put this into. I have HP tuners, and I already looked on the computer to figure out what ECU I had. So I'll hook this up, and then the vehicle I have is already set up for a virtual sensor. I'm going to go ahead and put in a physical sensor, just so it reads correctly. Like I said, I'm not sure how deep this is going to go. I may have to change the filler neck, I may have to do all kinds of stuff, but the way gas prices are going, I got to do something. Plus, I just wanted to add extra horsepower out of the E85. So, let's see how this goes. To start this project off, I'm going to disconnect the battery, and then I tried finding a fuse for the fuel pump to drain the system, but I couldn't find one real easily. So I'm just going to put a rag underneath the fuel rail where the line comes in. The fuel line connector tool is kind of a pain. It's kind of fight with, and then it just pops right off. So just a little patience. Once we got the fuel line disconnected, it's pretty well just plug and play with the male and female connector on the loop for this guy. It was really simple. The electrical connector actually splices into the coil pack, which is located right there. Again, just plug and play. It's pretty simple. And then after that, the connector for the ECU, I took my time, went ahead and routed it across through the firewall and zip tied it against there. Keep it nice and clean and make sure it doesn't rub off and touch anything else. Be sure and use dielectric grease on all your electrical connections.
Next, to get access to the ECU, we're going to have to move the windshield washer fluid and the coolant reservoir. There's just a couple bolts mounting them down. Take those loose and move it forward. Gives you enough access to get into the ECU. And the ECU just has a couple little clips. You just push up and pull it out. Now we're at the point of splicing into the regular ECU. There's an unused pin that you're going to have to pull out and wire into. To be honest, I watched a YouTube video of how to do this, and they explained it a whole lot better than I can. So there's just a couple little clips. You pull that off, zip tie kind of stuff, and then there's a little process. It's really a lot simpler than you think. I really was kind of afraid of doing this, but watching a YouTube video explained how easy it was, and there was no problems. After we got the rest of the wiring all tied down, zip tied, it's time to remount the washer tanks. And then we're going to reconnect the battery, cycle the key several times, just make sure there's no fuel leaks at the connector that we took loose. Once you got that, I went ahead and jumped on my HP tuners and started setting things up. So for HP tuners, really all I had to do was go in and tell it to use a physical sensor rather than a virtual sensor. And then I had to tell it to read that in the scanner. And as soon as I did, it was reading 10%, which is our regular pump gas, what we get out of the pump. So in conclusion, I'm very happy, very satisfied with this. The entire project took me like less than an hour, and it seems that everything's fine. So the first tank I did, I had half a tank of regular fuel, and I put half a tank of E85. When checked it with the scanner, and it said I was at like 35% alcohol content, and I got up to like 76% duty cycle on my injectors. So then after I put a full tank of E85 in, it was reading somewhere around like 80%. And when I went and tested it with HP tuners, it was saying I was at like 92% duty cycle at full throttle running 6 grand. So I believe the fuel system is capable of running this, and I don't have to make any more changes. I will down the road probably end up doing injectors, that kind of stuff, but I don't have to right now. For the gas mileage, I definitely did notice a difference. So I was running probably 22 miles a gallon with regular fuel, and then now it's down around like 16 to 18. But the feel I got out of the horsepower, like just by the seat of my pants, it feels like I gained 40 horsepower going 85. The next steps, I'm probably going to add a little bit of timing to it and then start playing with the fuel curve a little bit. But I am super happy with this project, well worth the time and the money. Really advise it.